Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to each mom here. Moms hold to be a mom is to hold a very influential position in life. And when a person holds such an influential place, today, that holds the possibility for it to be an extremely difficult thing as well. It is an honor to be a mom, no doubt. We look up to our moms. Even in our old age, we look up to our moms. But I want to just this morning honor as well or at least mention the difficulty of today. For some here, your mom has passed away. I don't know for sure if perhaps this is the first Mother's Day that your mom is gone. And so that's a painful reality. And even for those who are, maybe it's been a number of years, it is still a painful reality. Mother's Day is painful for those who have lost their child, or perhaps have lost a partner, or maybe you hear people talking about Mother's Day being this joyous occasion, and your relationship with mom is strained. There are many reasons why today is also keenly painful. And so this morning, I wish the moms a good day, a joyous day, a day where you are honored, but recognize just the difficulty that today brings as well. We like the idea of our moms being superwoman, right? That they are in a lot of ways. And perhaps maybe the moms here even think of themselves as conquerors, overcoming obstacles, defeating darkness, defending the vulnerable, obliterating the obstacles that are in our paths. Perhaps we like the idea of looking into the mirror and seeing more than a human, but someone who is unstoppable. Maybe someone who is even powerful or invincible. This morning, just for fun, I Googled songs about, I am woman, right? Nothing can stop me. I am woman. But I was pretty sure that Tina Turner belted that out, and I couldn't find it connected to her, so someone will have to fill me in later. We think of, in our lyrics, that is a common message, that we can do anything we want because we are unstoppable, powerful, invincible. Nothing stands in our way. The bullies are going to be sorry and maybe sore. We're going to have our revenge. We're going to have our day for all the patriarchal history that has been. Women are rising now to the top. When we look in the mirror, maybe we like this idea, of our image being not just a mere woman, but superwoman. If I would ask you who are some of the most influential or effective people in your life, numerous ones here, some of us at least would say, my mom. My mom shaped me as much as anyone. Some of you surely would include your mom. Some of you would describe her as a great person. She was a great person. What is it that made your mom or makes your mom this great person? Did she march down to the school playground when you came home and you said, "Mom, they're picking on me"? Did she march down there and make correction? knock those bullies down? Is your mom a great mom because she opened her blouse a little, was a real stunner, a head turner, and had everyone under her thumb when she entered a room? Is that what made her a great mom? It's almost embarrassing to hear me say it that way. And yet, is that not what society in a lot of ways promotes? Is it because she manipulated and flexed and controlled and climbed the ladder of success and stepped on top of people to get to the head office? Is that it? We know that for anyone who says they have a good and a great mom, it's none of those reasons. Doesn't even connect, doesn't even begin to connect. Perhaps the images on the wall behind me begin to just put into a light what makes not only moms humans. Anyone who knows me knows I hesitate to preach sermons on a Sunday morning that are sort of directed or especially for one part of the demographic. But what is it that makes humans today? We do commemorate our moms, but what is it that for which we applaud them? What is greatness? Moms. A good mom embodies selflessness, putting the desires and the interests of others ahead of herself. She listens without judgment or criticism. That's what a mom does, probably more often than a dad. She serves. She doesn't seek applause. She does the thankless things, make lunches, wash floors, clean the house, only to see people come dashing in the front door with their shoes on, never once thinking about the clean floor. Doing laundry, making food, cleaning the house, doing laundry, making food, and doing all of this while listening and advising and loving and serving and always asking, are you drinking enough water? I'm not sure I'm feeling well. Have you been drinking enough water? That will fix anything. If ever you're feeling off, if ever anything is wrong, have you been drinking enough water? That's probably moms. That's what makes you great. The selflessness, the loving, the listening, the caring. May God bless you today. Happy Mother's Day. This morning I have entitled the sermon, The Pursuit of Greatness, and this is for every person here. We are obsessed with greatness. We love greatness. I want to be great. I want to be the best. That's a common theme. Many of us, we simply love to drive to be the best, to want the head office, to climb the ladder, to be the best athlete. And there's nothing wrong with that desire to be the best. But if you and I are looking around the room this morning and thinking, I am the best, there is something else going on here that has nothing to do with being the best, but rather a reflection of our hearts. And this is just absolutely human and natural. And it's as old as time itself to compare ourselves with those around us and then to decide whether we are good enough or not. And that is just the opposite of what we find in the kingdom of heaven. But we love greatness. We're obsessed with it. We look up to people who embody greatness. We look up to people who are powerful or who have position or prestige or prominence. The wealthy businessman who has the backyard oasis and the exotic car in the driveway, we just automatically slow down and take a long look. And we go, wow. We intentionally take drives through the gated neighborhoods. We slow down. We love greatness. We glory in our connections with professionals. We glory in our connections with professional musicians and entertainers and, oh yeah. Athletes. We look up to athletes. We love greatness. As a teacher, this is just being transparent. When someone really succeeds, it's fun to say, I taught her. I taught him. Never mind the hundreds of others that are failing. I'm kidding. None of them are. I just don't tend to say, oh, I taught him everything I know. At that point, I don't tend to, because we love greatness. We even do that. We imagine ourselves as great. Every once in a while, I get caught imagining that I do pretty good work. To imagine ourselves as heroes is not uncommon. I've always been cursed with a vivid imagination, but as a child, I was always the hero in my imaginations. It's amazing. And I also remember listening to my younger brother when we were choring every once in a while. He'd be doing play-by-play. And do you know who scored the big goal every time? It was Martin coming down the left side. You know, that's just how it was. Brubaker never scored the big goal. We imagine ourselves as being great. Now, Martin did score a couple big goals, by the way. It's good to have you back. Loving greatness is nothing new. And we chase it, we pursue it, we have an obsession with it. And it's not new. The disciples, on at least 3 different occasions, they argued about this. We're going to mainly draw from the one text this morning, but the 3 times that I came across without a whole lot of studying, 3 times that the disciples argued about who was the greatest. In Matthew chapter 18, verse 1, at that time, Jesus is teaching. And by the way, Peter had just been fishing, and he caught a fish with money in its mouth. I've no idea if this is, but just after that, I've no idea if this is connected to their argument. Maybe he was saying, look at what I did, as if somehow he selected the fish with the money in its mouth. Maybe that's how it was. Peter saying, look at what I did. I got a fish with money. And the disciples came to Jesus and they said, now who is the greatest in the kingdom? We'll come back to that. Matthew 20, just 2 chapters later. Jesus is on his way to Jerusalem. Go ahead, Daryl. Jesus is on his way to Jerusalem for the final week of his life. He is nearing the city. Matthew 20. And the mom of James and John, the disciples, are arguing again. Jesus just got done telling them, by the way, that we're going to enter the city and I'm going to be killed. And what are they talking about? Oh, come on. Shut up, Peter. Like, seriously. Now, look at my accomplishments. They're arguing about being the greatest. And James and John's mom comes and says, Jesus, my kids make me so proud. Jesus, I want the best for my children. Would you look at their accomplishments? They gave up a lot to follow you. Friends, we do the same thing sometimes. Look at my children. Look at my children. My children make me proud. Our children ought to give us great joy all the time. That is a reality. But sometimes I wonder if we are actually doing them a favor by boasting on them, by exalting them. But maybe to quietly do that, to affirm them. I wonder. And here she comes. Jesus, I love my kid. You do too. You chose them to be your disciples. And I'm wondering, when you get to heaven, would it be okay if one sat on either side of you when you know, that's just where I think they deserve it. One on the right hand and one and the other on your left in your kingdom. Jesus. And the third time, so here we are, that's 2 times where the disciples argued about greatness. Do you know where the third time happened? This was new for me. I didn't know it. In the upper room. Go ahead, Daryl. In the upper room, the disciples argued. Luke 22:24. A dispute arose among them as to which was regarded to be the greatest. They are in the upper room. They broke bread for the last time. It was after they broke bread. And they started arguing about who's the greatest. I wonder. Luke doesn't write about washing feet. I'm suspicious that this prompted Jesus to get out the basin. He says, fellas. And he proceeds to wash their feet. And there is no doubt in my mind that in the months to come, they keenly remembered their conversation and what happened after that. He washed our feet. Jesus washed our feet. He washed my feet. Jesus, in the middle of his just preparing to enter the heaviest season, the disciples are arguing about who is the greatest. So what is greatness? I'm going to draw a few points from Matthew 18, verses 1 through 6. I'll read those verses now. So Peter had just caught the fish with the money in its mouth, and then it says, at that time, the disciples came to Jesus, saying, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And calling a child, he put him in the middle of them. And, okay, so just stop here for a minute. Can you imagine being here? The disciples came and they had a legitimate question. It's perhaps something we can imagine happening here. Hardly, because we're far too humble, but maybe discussing, well, who's the greatest? I love asking that question. Anytime I just feel a little down and I need my tire pumped a little bit, I go into grade 8 and say, who's the most important person here? And they usually say, you are. Thank you very much. That's not the answer I'm looking for. Who's the most important person here? The other person. It doesn't mean that we ourselves are not important, but let's look out for the other person. It's the other person. Let's think about the other person. Sometimes in grade 8, I don't have to encourage them to think about the other person, if you know what I'm saying. All right. And the disciples, they asked the legitimate question. They said, who is the greatest? And I can imagine Peter thinking, I think it's going to be, he's probably going to say me. John saying, well, I'm the gentle one. I have exercised so many gifts behind the scenes, and Jesus knows about them, and I know that he loves me. I think it's going to be me. And James and John, are you kidding me? We're not called sons of thunder for nothing. We're movers and shakers. We make things happen. I mean, look at everything that's going on in Capernaum. I think it's going to be us. Can you imagine the shock on their faces when he says, imagine this. He says, Grayson. And he picks up this child and he sets him down and he says, this is the greatest. And the disciples, in their tough, rough, stop in their tracks and say, what? And he puts a child in the middle of himself. And then he says this, truly I say to you, unless you become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Whoever humbles himself like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Whoever receives one such child in my name receives me, but whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better if a great millstone were fastened around his neck to be drowned in the depths of the sea. I can picture them being probably next to the Sea of Galilee. And it just says, it would be better. That would be better. Those are harsh words. What is greatness? Well, I can tell you what it is not. What is Jesus saying here to become like a child? He is not saying we ought to be childish. He's not saying that you should squabble over little things, that you should get up and get down to the toy box and make sure you get them all. That's what he's not saying. He is not saying that you should go to the playground and spend your days swinging. That's not what it means to be a child. So what does it mean? Verses 3 and 4. Unless you become like children, whoever humbles himself like this child is the greatest. What does it mean to humble ourselves? What is it about children? Children, they care about others. When someone is sad, a child notices that. When someone is hurt, a child gets sad quickly also. When someone, they care about others. They don't care about status. They don't care who you are, how much money you have, how you're dressed. A child doesn't care. A child doesn't care what kind of car you drive or what kind of house you live in or what kind of money you have. A child does not care about a lot of the things that we spend quite a lot of time thinking about. And when Jesus said you should become like children, those are some of the things he meant. He will never say, you'll never hear a child saying, unless he has been really strongly indoctrinated, never say, what church do you go to? Or who did you vote for? Or the things that divide us. Because they don't care. They see a human, they care about that. If the human is sad, they care about that. If they are quick to forgive, they are quick to be kind, and many times they are quick to share. In fact, I'm humored often. I love whether it's a Easter egg hunt or a candy scramble. We as parents, we need to get out there and help them fill that basket, otherwise they're satisfied with one. Oh, come on, kid. There's more candy over there, and they're eating their one chocolate bar because, isn't this great? I just walked into the lawn and found a chocolate bar. It's great. Come on, Tommy. We got to go. We have more candy to get. We got to fill this basket. So they're dragging this kid along that has lost interest in all things because they don't really care for more. Whoever humbles himself like a child is the greatest. And so there are three things that I've selected here. 3 ways that we should be like children, aside from the ones that I mentioned. The first is children are teachable. Children are teachable. In fact, children want what is right. They will do what they shouldn't many times. We all know that. Children do wrong. Children disobey. Children are selfish. Children are human just like you and me. But children want what is right. When they know they hurt someone very quickly, children feel badly. They want right. They want to do right. Children are quick. They're teachable. They're quick to apologize. They're quick to forgive. When they are hurt and they come crying, and mom or dad or aunt or uncle or friend or neighbor and sometimes even stranger on the sidewalk, they pat them on the head and off they go and play again. It's done. It's past. They're not busy. A child is not busy hanging on to that grudge about what happened a minute ago. They are teachable. The second point is that children are trustful. I remember sometimes, I can't think of a specific time, but children trust. That's why we need to teach them not to go with strangers, because they trust. They expect people to be safe. I can't think of a specific time, but maybe when a child would ask if everything's going to be okay, and I assure them everything will be fine when I myself am asking the same question. But when they hear it from dad or mom or brother, everything will be fine. That's all they need to know, because they are trustful. Children trust. They don't worry. Many times Jesus said, don't worry. Matthew 6, do not worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow has enough cares of its own. Children don't worry about tomorrow. We are to be like children. And the last point here is children are tender. Children are tender. They care. I think I've described this a little bit already, but they care about those around them. If someone is sad, a child tends to be that way also. If someone is, they are quick to notice expression, many of them, because children sense how others are feeling very, very quickly. They can tell if mom and dad are off, perhaps something big or difficult is going on in their lives, and we sense that in them. They are tender. And so Jesus said, you need to humble yourself and become like a child if you wish to be great in the kingdom. Children hold a special place in Jesus' heart. And this is another odd thing for a teacher to say, but I'm not sure if, I shouldn't even say, or a preacher to say. But it's not that I shouldn't say it. I like children, but not as much as some people do. Is that the nice way of trying to say what I'm not saying? But then this week, when I was preparing for this, I listened to another speaker, and he said this: if you don't like children, something is wrong with you. You are broken. And I went, Jesus, children hold a special place in the heart of Jesus. One chapter later, we are in Matthew 18, but one chapter later is where the children are coming to Jesus. They're drawn to him, and his disciples say, hey, he doesn't have time. He doesn't have time for you. And they're rebuking the children, saying, just stay back a little bit. Jesus needs to get to the important people. And he says, fellas, guys, this is what the kingdom is about, right here. He says, he rebukes them, and he says, let them come to me. Don't hinder them, because the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these. That's what he says in Matthew 19, verses 13 to 15. And he touches them. He lays his hands on them. And you can just imagine as he's patting them on the head or on the back, on the shoulder, and blessing them. Children have a special place in his heart is with the vulnerable, I think is a fair way to say this. The vulnerable person. on the street, the heart of Jesus is with that person. In fact, I wasn't going to say this, but take a homeless guy, take someone who is homeless on a sidewalk. In the straits of life, life has been difficult and hard. Children have a hard time walking past that. They see a sad person. They see a broken situation. They see a broken person. A number of years ago, Joshua Bell, this is what I wasn't going to say, so hopefully I have my facts right, but you should look it up. Joshua Bell is one of the best classical violin players alive on the planet right now. He plays in the biggest venues and plays the most difficult pieces of music. And plays on a very old violin, one of them being worth over $1 million. Plays pieces of music that some of us appreciate, very few of us can play. He went to one of the Washington metro stations and set up, put on his street clothes to play music. And in the 45 minutes that he played, I think he made $32. And this was just an experiment, I think done by the Washington Post actually. But most adults did not notice him. It was out of context. Children invariably needed to be pulled past. Said that's one of the most outstanding things. One adult stopped and said to him, "You are really good." And but children, that was they saw this beauty outside of its context. They recognized this, and I don't want to make it something that it's not. But children see things for what they are a little sooner than adults sometimes. And Jesus, his heart is with the vulnerable, with the children. And so I need to close with the last two verses. I need to address them because Jesus did. Verses 5 and 6. So whoever receives a child in my name receives me. You want to receive Jesus? Many of us do. Then receive the children. And whoever causes one of these little ones who believes in me to sin, it would be better for him to have a millstone fastened around his neck and to be drowned in the sea. Now, I don't think Jesus said it like that. A person does not use such graphic, descriptive terminology and say it with a calm tone. Yeah, I think it'd be better if... No. This idea of hurting a child ticked Jesus off. There's a bit of emotion in this to say that. And the Jews understood what a millstone was. It was a rock flattened on top. A millstone, by the way, and he picked a millstone because they were about 6 feet. A lot of them were about 6 feet across. And was kind of like a dish, some of them even like a donut, for lack of better description. The inside was hollowed out. So you could easily put a rope around a millstone. It's a massive rock donut, 6 feet across. One of those tied to you, you don't stand a chance. Jesus is saying, these are harsh words. If you hurt a child, it would be better if a millstone were hung on your neck and you were put in the sea. That's what he said. It matters. It matters. Children are right at the heart of the Father. He says, bring them to me because this is what the kingdom of heaven is about. You want to be great? You do. We all do. We are, like I said, we are obsessed with greatness. And Jesus said, if you want to be great, you must humble yourself and become like a child. because they are great. They are the greatest, even, he says. They are the greatest. They are teachable. They are trustful. And they are tender. Pursue greatness, dear friends. Pursue greatness in your families, in your circle of friends, in your places of work, and be like a child. May God bless you.